Hello and welcome to another Juicy and Lucy podcast. Today we've got the lovely Irene and the lovely Tracy joining us. And you, of course, yeah. We're going to be talking about late with regards to the international investigation team, what work they've been doing. And boy, have they found some stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, very intense investigation. Amazing.
Yeah, it really is. But it just shows the perjury and fraud and basically what they didn't have against you, Irene, but then made some stories up.
A lot of stories, and we're going to cover it tonight. But I think one of the biggest things I've got to say and put acknowledgements out to the brilliant mindsets of the international investigation team, because there were so many of them working on this. So we've got to say bravo to them for working with us on this, because it was huge and it was affecting me in a big way, mindset. They were playing mind games. It was the effects on my husband. We're private investigators dumping stuff on the doorstep.
Who were they? Were they just the bully boys?
Yeah, just the bully boys.
We do know from the investigation that they've got handlers as well. You met them in the court as well. The handlers were in the court.
Yeah. Not very nice. Not nice people.
No.
And they wanted, it's like the way they look at you with this, like they can all do as they seem fit, and they have the ultimate power over you. And like, who are you? And lots of intimidation. And well, they gave me, I've created about 20 kgs of paperwork now, and it's still piling up. Okay, so it was just awesome to have to start out the investigation team when they asked me 2 years ago to participate in it, because of course I'm a journalist and we needed to collect the evidence. Got the evidence, and then I passed it on to this amazing team who broke it all down with their wonderful experts from all around the world. So I'm just wrapped with that.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It is brilliant. It's nice to see a nice group of people on board.
So when you passed it to us and we had a read through, it was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, what they do is they put it through to the authority authorized representative for Indigenous peoples, which is of course Tracy.
Yeah.
And so what we had was, we've got there was like 350 pages in the beginning. There was the initial report showing all the incompetencies, and then they actually produced 2 evidence tables on top of that,
which they ignored,
which all was ignored. They've ignored every document. And then when they produced the forged prescription forms that I'd never seen before, I was just shell-shocked, because in 20 years of my midwifery I'd never seen forms like that. And I was shell-shocked when I looked at the signatures on them for me, because they weren't my signatures, right?
Even the pharmacist was shocked when he seen one of them, which we'll talk about later, but even he was shocked.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
you're right, they only presented them to you just before the court trial.
Yeah, the day before. One of them was just a day before the court. Wow. And the thing for me is that during that court case, we actually put in a strikeout under the Evidence Act, which was ignored, because they put in a statement of fact, which was, there was no fact, there was no evidence to anything they said. So it continued.
So you think, well, that's what we think anyway, is the courts are bought. They hire the courts to do their business. It's the same as what's happening in the UK with the councils. They hire the court Yeah,
Yeah.
to put summons on people, to take property away from people, even though it's not through the court. So it's
with no
possible
evidence, just
with
using
no evidence,
pictures.
whatever, just
Just
pictures.
using pictures.
So I presume it's the same. It's the same. Gang.
Yeah, well, I
As
had
long as
no
you're a
idea
lawyer.
about
Sorry,
it, you
sorry,
know.
Tracy.
I mean, I was like a novice to all this. It was, you know, we saw the judge stamping the 5 charges, not looking us in the face, you know, and
Wow.
it was like she was just stamping on those charges, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to get, you know, there's $50,000 here. This is my court."
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, we're
It
waiting
is.
for Judgment
Yeah,
Day.
yeah. It is amazing that everything they stamp on there is 10,000. Maximum of 10,000. So it's 10,000. Maximum of
Yeah.
10,000. And then they
And none of that lines up with the COVID legislation, does it?
no.
Those figures don't line up with the figures from the actual COVID legislation. I think it was it 3,000 was the highest
The
figure?
highest if you yeah, I think it's
If you'd
about
actually broken COVID legislation.
yeah,
but
gone around hugging, kissing people basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you know, but
And what
it
they do that anyway.
initially it's always up to 10,000 or it's 10,000, you know, it's not less or more or in between. Well, they even tried to find me, didn't they? They even tried to for they even sent me a $10,000 threat, didn't they, for Emma Farmer?
That's
Farmer.
actually not a threat. No, that's not a threat. They've actually billed you, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that was quite unprofessional of them, simply because they had actually done the documentation on the Emma Farmer name suppression. They did it they wrote it up the day they were supposed to have sent it, a week after they asked for an extension. So it was a week after the extension. So they wrote it up on the day. We didn't receive it until the next Friday. So they wouldn't have posted it until maybe Monday or Tuesday. They put it in a handwritten envelope with nothing in the back, and it's not tracked and traced. So they can't prove they sent it. Now they can, because I've just said it. But the issue was that they had sent it on the day that Irene was supposed to have got it, and it arrived the day that Irene was supposed to have answered it. And then they said in their own words, "Oh no, we did what we did, and we're going to charge you $10,000 because you used her name." Well, unfortunately, that's a criminal offence. They didn't follow due process, and they're deliberately perverting the course of justice. So it's because they are entitled. Because they're a lawyer and they're basically acting as the judge. So, you know, there's a process that we're using at the moment, and it seems to be having some very positive effects in court.
And I think with we've got to just remind everybody that there's like, they're trying me in the criminal court, but they're actually trying me for the same things in the health practitioners disciplinary tribunal. They're using the same evidence, right? But what came to light is that Jane Birdsall, in her testimony in the court, said they had no evidence that I'd breached the mandate. But yet the health practitioners, she never informed them. They didn't take they didn't take the suspension down, right?
No.
And the health practitioners tribunal are trialing me for breaching the mandate.
Yeah, that's obvious.
You know, with 2 charges, one not being registered signing the forms and the other one's breaching the mandate. You know, so they're trying to double take the money. It's all the bank, isn't it? They're just after the money.
Yeah, no one knows where that money goes. It's obviously going into a slush fund somewhere.
Well, we did a search and we can't find any accounts or any annual reports for the disciplinary tribunal or the practice, I don't know, conduct committee or whatever they call themselves. Can't find anything. So where's that money gone?
Well, yes, but that's come out in the investigation report.
So where do you want to start with this, Irene? Do you want to start with because Tracy's got some wicked ideas on this G36. We'd never heard of it before.
Well, we can just probably highlight
don't-
that the investigation team notified the courts of the fraud and sent the document out, the investigation out with G36 forms to the lawyers, to this Jane Birdsall, to the rest of the clan. And they got 5 days to answer. So we'll let Tracy go over the G36 and the rest of it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share screen and show the G36?
No, G36 is a High Court rule in New Zealand. It's under High Court Rule 8.47, which is you interrogate and then you ask for when you answered. That's how we see it. And the reason we see it that way and what we're doing is because we picked it up on the way they did the power of attorney. Now, everyone that does a power of attorney or revokes a power of attorney or whatever they do to the power of attorney, they're doing it wrong. Utterly and utterly wrong. And the reason I say that is because of how the banks do the power of attorney in the first place. And we realized when we saw this document, it's a fact document. It's done lawfully and it's done correctly. Unfortunately, they don't acknowledge that you were deceived in a document. So on a lawful document, there's no argument. So therefore, it's not versus anyone. You're not bringing in myself against Irene. That's an argument. If I've got a fact and they've omitted a fact, I don't need to bring Irene into the conversation or the argument because she's already admitted to it. So if everyone immediately does an affidavit, they will put it into court, into an argument, and they rebut their own affidavit because it becomes a fiction. Legal is a fiction. It's not real. It's just doesn't actually exist. So they did the power of attorney, which is, by the way, a legal thing. So really it's a nothing. And I think people just got to realize I don't know what you're talking about. It's a legal thing. It's a nothing. You've got to put that in your mindset. They did it this way by 2 directors signing an agreement saying that they had the power of attorney, all the appropriate documents were signed, and they handed the power of attorney over to some bloke or woman, whatever, in another branch or the head branch. What now? And then what they did was the gentleman or woman who got the power of attorney writes a small note saying, I'm John Bloggs and I have got the power of attorney over Tracy and I have not received a notice of an event to revoke the power of attorney. And that's it. Okay. So but that's done in a court, which is just the title registrar. So the titles, in New Zealand, we call it Lands Information, which is LINZ, Lands Information New Zealand. You have one in the UK, you have one all over the world. They're all different. But
Land
they're
registry,
all the same.
which we're bought from.
Of course you are. Why not? It's so much easier. Yeah, we don't want you in our legal system. You're a bother.
It's locked the door every time we pulled up.
Yeah, these are watchers and they lock the doors.
Lock the doors, wouldn't let us in.
Wouldn't let us in.
It's funny that, eh? It's like when I was dealing with a case for Jeffrey, it got to the point where they just wouldn't let me in.
Yeah,
this is in the district courts. And you're dealing against, I was up against serious fraud, and they were lawyers. You realise that lawyers are nothing when you're dealing with these people. They're just nothing, isn't it? You really, you're just a lawyer. It's just a legal thing. I don't know what you're talking about. And you've got to have that mindset because it is a joke. It really is when you realise how stupid they are. Anyway, so we did the power of attorney, which we did the notice of an event is really quite simple. If you don't know what an event is, think about climate change, COVID, cancer, marriage, children having people birth is an event. Anything really is an event, right? So an event is insurance fraud. That's what an event is. So if we set up a document, which is the SN 72, and I'm no NS 72, I always get that wrong. And when I wrote that, I put in, I think, about 33 lines because I kept up and downing it. And then
33
lines, which was obviously it's satanical, but we did that deliberately. And in that is basically the whole system in 33 lines. Let's
Wow.
mock them.
Yeah.
So you go back to the power of attorney. The power of attorney is you haven't noticed them of an event. An event is them creating something so they can claim insurance on behalf of you as you.
So every time they've had a lockdown, it's been a separate event for
Yeah.
each one.
Omicron,
Every time they've had a
Delta.
variant, it's a separate event. So
on
they've
it
done
goes.
insurance
Yeah.
claims on every
Yeah.
single.
Yeah.
But no,
So
this
basically,
every
there's an
3
event that
months.
starts.
Every 3 months. And every 3 months we worked out, because we're doing some very serious mortgage cases, right? And
Yeah,
we proved that the bank had actually paid it off, and then we got lawyers interfering. And this is a beautiful woman that we helped, and she got the fear of God put into her by, don't you use that woman called Tracy, don't you use that woman, you'll lose everything. Well, she's lost everything.
She didn't use you.
But she didn't use me. She used the 7 lawyers, of which one of them was on every page of everything, and he was the one that was profiting. It's just trust law. It's very simple. But what we proved was this, that the mortgage was paid off when her husband died.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
We
I do remember.
trespassed them through the ombudsman. We were
Yeah.
using the ombudsman at that stage. We just trespassed and prove your claim. That you haven't paid off the mortgage, or you trespass. Well, they didn't take any money out of the bank. And then the lawyer stepped in a couple of days later and restarted it all. Now, what they were doing, because this is where we found out another little thing, because we got the Inland Law Council is just a big succubus of information. We just put one thing out, and we get a whole bunch of stuff coming back. It's great. So what we found out was, and thanks to Jen for this one, the mortgage is paid off. The mortgage is paid off on the death of your spouse. There's insurance you don't even know about. Remember, the beneficial owner. Banking is beneficiary, beneficial owner, and client. The beneficial owner owns the client. The beneficial owner makes claims and votes on behalf of the client. Why are you only the client and not the beneficiary? So what they've done is they've got insurance. Every 3 months, they would.
And that's the power of attorney.
Yeah. That's the power of attorney they got over you.
Yeah.
From when they put it into the bank. Yeah.
We can do anything, because the power of attorney it goes through the title, right? So it goes into your land's information, and it just spreads out there. So you can cancel the power of attorney only in there. No one's doing it.
At source.
They're all going out there. They're all going here, but they're not actually going where it is. It's in your information where your title is registered, and there shouldn't be a title there. So that's where it is. And you can see in LIMS, because in New Zealand we have LIMS and we have Internal Affairs. There's 2 books running. So, and those are two registers.
So you clip in one bit and it spreads out, keep going out from there.
Yeah, basically it just spreads out. An ink drop in the water, right? And it just, because the councils will go, oh, we're entitled. You've got a mortgage, we're entitled. But I always say, now this is funny, get the original document, get the original mortgage, right? I need the, because I would say this, just say a friend of mine and I believe, no, not use the word believe, no, that I'd crossed those things out. So I need to see the original. If I don't see the original, I'm going to do a little thing called not pay you until I see the original, because I know you've changed it. They will not turn up with the original. They can't. We've got some cases under the G36 and G32 process right now, and they can't answer. See, I've just got a big, huge round circle now, didn't I?
Welcome to Tracy's world.
Oh, I can't help it. you know, you asked me a question, right? You
Exactly.
get
Yeah,
confused, but you
not the
can't.
question.
You got to go this way
Like,
because this is how
yeah,
we found
You
it. And
can't
it's
leave
like,
it hanging. It's like, what's that bit?
mm,
So we can use this case as an example of what Tracy's talking about.
okay, what we're going to do for Irene is she's actually given them some affidavits.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is, remember I said to you, it's a fact. It's not an argument. Okay, the first affidavit Irene did was she put it into the the High Court. And it is unanswered. The issue with the affidavit is the way she wrote it. Okay. But if they didn't get back to us and say we didn't understand it.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
So if you know, like if I get something from you and it's like, oh my God, what are all these circles? What do you mean by? I'd ring you or contact you, right?
Yeah.
I don't ignore it.
Yeah.
I'd ask you about it because
And
that's good business sense.
And I first put it into the Midwifery Council. And it's gone to Jane Birdsall and the PCC.
Yeah.
So they've all got copies of it. It's in the courts.
Yeah. See, and this is the issue, right? But see, what happened with that one is this. You went into the High Court and you made it into an argument.
Mm. Yeah.
But it's unrebutted, right?
Mm.
So my brain says, oh, well, we'll just ask them when they rebutted it. When did you answer? Show proof that you answered this. So how you do that is there's a whole bunch of other things that we've actually injected 2 very serious scientific documents as affidavits into the court as well. Now they are unrebutted. I don't care what anyone says. We have a science council, a global science council, and their knowledge is vast. They've just proven some very serious things, and any government or any lawyer or any law firm that's been involved in this vaccine, within a year they're going to be homeless. That's it, what they've done. So what we're going to do with Irene is we're going to go all the bits and pieces that she's put on, all the affidavits, all the questions, everything is going to go into a form of a affidavit of service. It's really important, the affidavit of service. It's the most important document that you can put into court because it convicts you. And it's always perjury. So the affidavit of service is simple. It's basically, I sent this document by this, or I personally handed it to you. I know it was you. I know they had it. They acknowledged it. They replied to this. So it's an affidavit. I know they got the document because this is what the email said, or this is what the track and trace number said, or I spoke to them directly, or there was a conversation about it, right?
Or they read the email.
Right. Now that goes into our little process because it's an affidavit. It's an affidavit of actually serving affidavits, basically. No one ever does that, do they? And then we go into a G36 process, which is an admission of fact. There's a step before that, but we don't need to do it. It's the interrogatories. I always say it wrong. It's said a funny word. But what we do then is you've only got 5 working days. And that's in the New Zealand law legislation, right? That's their rules, not mine. They don't apply to me, but they apply to them. So they have to prove, when did you reply? I don't want to know when they answered. I don't want to know when or how they answered or where their answer is or when are you going to answer these, because that's just what you're doing then is you're just prolonging the process.
Over 5 days. Yeah.
I just want to know, just show me proof you replied. That would be maybe another affidavit with a whole bunch of track and trace or the emails that you sent back, but it needs to prove you replied. Not, I don't want your replies. I want to prove that you've replied.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay,
yeah, like
there's nothing else in there. No,
throws them back into the loop.
Yeah, no, I've just given you away the whole game, right? Because that's all it is. Then it goes straight into as an interlocutory without notice.
Go on.
And that means it's our court. See, we are the court. The paper is the court, and it goes into the High Court because that's a court of record. It's all fictitious, just so you know, because we've also recorded it in our records. We have our own system. This is the most important thing. We have agreements with each other. We've started our own one world order, what do you want to call it? We have our own agreements. So we would refer to this as a court because, you know, no one else understands what it is. And our court has spoken to that court saying these are facts, and there is no argument. So it's a done deal. Just tick the box wherever you do it in your process, right? If they don't do that, we go at the ministers that provided the service of the court.
Yeah.
This is why we've had a system of getting addresses. And we're getting a massive amount of addresses of police officers, court registers, judges. Who else is there? Council, mayors, politicians, etc. Okay. Because if you look on our website, you'll see we've set up a hell of a lot of things in there to work with. And you can only imagine what the investigation team is going to do with the Christchurch event. So it's because it's a system, because nobody ever follows through on anything, right? It's like, oh, it didn't work. How do you know that worked? No. It's not about working. It's about keep rolling. So so we've gone from a year ago to 2 years ago. How long have I known you? 2 years. It feels like a lifetime.
Nearly three.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's a lifetime. Yeah. So but what it is, I never believe in, I know it's a massive mountain we're climbing, but I just believe in one step at a time. And if I didn't do the one step at a time, I wouldn't get out of bed, I can tell you now. But that's what it is. And we've got so far forward now, we're just rolling down the hill now. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that. I agree with that. It feels really good now.
It does.
It's been a slog for 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're very small. We don't actually in our memberships in New Zealand, people. We've challenged the New Zealand government's election roll. We don't. People go, oh, you've only got this amount on our website. Well, we've kept it small. We want to keep it small, but we've now got our own private server up and running. We've got our own private emails. We're creating a bank. We've got our own court, and we're doing our own agreements. We're bringing farmers in to agree with us that we want to look. I just want to buy your cow so my family can have a year's supply of meat. Well, we can go one step further, and then we'll bring the truckies in and everyone else and say, stop paying your registration, stop paying taxes, stop paying everything, because our symbol, I don't know if you can see it, this one here, that's recognised. It's been with the UN for over a year. Okay. Now I put that in, and that's our private members for the Inland Air Water Council. We're Indigenous peoples. They made an agreement. And every government has renamed that agreement. Well, then they're in dishonour. And New Zealand government is in Geneva Human Rights Commission on breach of that declaration, and I've been dealing with the UN on this just recently. So it's little things, but it doesn't matter really, because it's how we all perform, how we have contracts. It's all it is. We don't need a contract with the government or a climate change specialist or some other guy. We've got our own science council. We know what we're doing. We can talk to each other and deal with each other in pleasant and polite ways. We don't need anyone else. And if you stop paying your taxes and stop paying your road users and stop paying your registrations, right, you don't have to worry about it. You've got enough money coming in. You don't have to pay anyone, because they're supposed to be looking after you. Did they do that? They've drained you. So
absolutely. Everyone I talk to is broke.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And you struggle to pay taxes. Why? Did you know that they have admitted, because we got that video, it's only 5 minutes, he says, stupid me, going, reading the rights to Jerry Brownlee and Todd McClay, and I'm actually having Todd McClay on about MPI at the moment, right? MPI are supposed to submit to my office. It's a fact.
But they ignore you.
Oh, they don't have to, right? They're special. They're just, MPI are just a private prosecuting company. They've got a deal with the government, right?
To pay mercenaries
when they want to.
You think they're ex-army?
Ex-military? Just say that MPI is the Ministry of Primary Industries, because if we're talking to others, they won't know what it is.
Yeah, but it's the same deal with the the Midwifery Council. Same thing. They're just making money out of prosecutions because it's complaints. So we just go, okay, we don't have an agreement with you. I don't know who you are. And then what we've done is we've set up a platform. So if you can imagine the pyramid, right? And that pointy thing, we've turned the pointy thing into a round ball. You can call that source, God. And we have a platform. And on that platform is wider than the base of the triangle. We're all trading on that platform as one. That's all we need to do, just trade there. The more we ignore this system, this legal fiction, because it is a fiction, I don't know what it is, it's going to flatten it. We're not turning triangles upside down, we're just going to flatten it. Because they won't be able to sustain themselves, and no one's going to listen to them after they realize that, no, I can actually do something like my mother and my grandfather did, and it's much better, right? You can't get a decent lamb roast from a supermarket. They're all horrible. You know, we can't even, New Zealand can't even tan its own skins, hides. It can't make wool. None of that stuff, because we let a corporation tell us what to do. How stupid are we? See? Lectured you now, didn't I?
There you go.
There you go.
But yeah, so our system is very simple.
It is. But you see, Irene's case is really simple now. Now that investigation has been done, it's put it onto one timeline. And we watched you on that last interview you did with LSB, Chris. And you were flying down there. But where before, on the interviews you did before, you still didn't know where things were or what things were and everything else. But that investigation has put you onto a timeline.
What is that?
Of exactly what is happening and who is involved. It's like it reads like a film.
Yeah, it flows in truth and fact.
Yeah, it's almost like a script for a film now.
Yeah.
Of literally, the whole sort of like choo-choo train all the way through, and then now it's collecting everything as it's actually going along now. And it's like, I remember you said when you got that report, it's the first night you slept all the way through the night. Yeah, because of that, because it just straightened everything up. So you imagine this whole realm, everybody's in that same confusion of these timelines and lies and everything else and storylines and this and that, and it's horrendous.
Well, the investigation report stopped
Stop
their lies. It took away arguments.
Yes, because it's actually been put together on facts. Their facts. They're put against you and the court transcripts that you've got.
Yeah. It's all based on the evidence that they've given.
There's no belief or some or this or got an idea or that. It's facts. Their facts under oath.
That's right.
It's hard to really argue with that. Or go, oh, I never said that. Well, then hold on. If you never said that, but you said it under oath, so is that perjury? Do you know what I mean? So whichever way they go or think they're going to go, because they have gone really quiet as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, what the investigation team did as well is they went through everything, because they went through the court transcript.
Yeah,
they went through the documents. They went through the numerology, the signatures, just about everything. My history of being hospital and the evidence from that. They took everything in there, and they didn't leave a stone unturned. And we've now got perjury and fraud.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to go through for first? Do you want to do the investigation first with the interlocutory at the end, or which way round would you like to go? I mean, come on, which way? What do you want to do first? Would you want to do the investigation first, and then we could go through the interlocutory at the end? Or
We can do. We can we
Yeah.
can go that way, or Tracy might want to do the interlocutory. Just ask Tracy what she wants to do.
What would you like to do? Would you like to go?
It's always up to Tracy. How unusual. I think you should talk about the investigation, and then what our end process is.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
So if I share screen, hang on a minute. Just bear with me, guys. Right, can you guys see that?
Is it big enough?
It's huge.
Is it?
Well, we can only see the Law Council International. Yeah.
Oh, now.
Yeah. Can we open that screen up a bit more or not? I don't know. I'm tactile. That's cool. Wicked.
That's it, I'm afraid.
Come on then, folks. Let's go through this.
Right, so this is the latest investigation report that the team has done last month, March. Can't remember what month we're in.
It's hard to know what month it is in the UK because it just keeps on raining. Right, should we read it through? Let's read it through. Yeah.
Right, so the introduction, which is confirmed fraudulent documents created by Jane Birdsall Enforcement, now known as Principal Advisor for Enforcement, contracted to Ministry of Health. I can never say them words. To what Aura? Is that right? Yeah. Health New Zealand PO Box. Then we've got the email addresses. This International Investigation Team UK office, with reference to this public investigation, has identified that Jane Birdsall, acting as enforcement, now known as Principal Advisor, Ministry of Health in the District Court, fraudulently created 2 MPSOs, which are Practitioner Supply Order Forms. Number 1 dated the 29th of December 21, and number 2 dated the 3rd of June 22. Background. This international investigation team received directions from Irene to investigate in detail the points mentioned above, along with Jane Birdsall's emails, diary notes, statements of truth, and database reports, as Irene has never seen this type of form before in more than 20 years of working as a midwife in New Zealand. Irene had made it clear to all the district court, documented on court transcripts, that the signatures were forged because they are nothing like her signatures. See documents 1 and 2 below that do not hold Irene's true signature.
Yeah, I was absolutely shocked because I've never seen a form like that. The only ones I've ever seen are green forms.
The first one, 29th. Let's have a look at this. 29th of December is on the stamp. And then 29th of December is on the date of when it was ordered, apparently. And then we've got, that's your professional name and your professional address, isn't it, Irene?
That's right. I never signed for anything professional under Irene Chain Kalinowski.
Yeah.
So when you worked as a midwife, you always used the name Irene Chain.
And
yes,
always
it was difficult for everybody to pronounce Kalinowski, so I never used it. And even the council registered me as Irene Chain. Yeah.
It took us a while to get our head around a vodka called Sablika. That's only because it's really nice.
It's actually,
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's the forged signature and the date, and then we've come to document 2.
Now these are the documents that you got 1 week. So the 3rd of June came in a week before the trial, which is this one. and the 29th came in on the day before the trial.
Yeah, she only brought them in because I think they were panicking and they got nothing else.
That's obvious.
And because the international team had sent the investigation through.
Yeah.
To them.
Yeah.
So again, it's got your professional name and your professional address on there, and then another forged signature with somebody called H or something.
We did think about that the other night, actually, when we was actually going through this, and I thought, well, do they think she's actually called Irene?
Yeah. Oh, the other thing as well, if you've got to sign a signature like that, you can't do it as a signature because you've got to do that. Yeah, you've got to take your pen off, and then you've got to do that.
And you're not known as Chan either.
No, I'm not Chan.
Chan. Charlie Chan.
And then they noticed, and I noticed there's a hyphen right at the end. Why would you have a hyphen or that dot thing up at the end? Yeah, it's
well,
like the start of something else, you know.
Yeah, it goes into this then, doesn't it? It's like, wow.
Wow. Right. Oh.
Have to excuse this. It's going to be a long one, so we're going to have a flag.
Document 1 was sent via email as disclosure to Irene by the Ministry of Health Prosecution Hayley Bosa, MC Law, acting for Jane Birdsall on the 11th of February this year. This was the afternoon before criminal court proceedings. So they sent it to you the afternoon before. So you literally
hours.
Didn't
well,
even
they
have
were pumping. They were pumping.
No, you didn't. Most of that, you was asleep.
Yeah.
Well, they kept pumping heaps and heaps of stuff as they call disclosure, but that was promised like a year ago when they first kicked this into place, and we were told that there was an investigation, and there was no investigation other than Jane Birdsall's diary and some pictures.
I remember these are from 2022. What was December 1? 21.
21, yeah.
And 2022.
Yeah.
And it to you the afternoon before.
Yeah.
I suppose they thought we should have answered the stuff for the High Court.
Can I just say something as well? Weren't you just in the High Court just for, say, 5 lab forms? Yeah.
In the district court, guys. The criminal court.
The criminal court, sorry, yeah. Yeah. Or not. Yeah. So basically, he was in there for 5 lab forms, nothing to do with this. So there was asking to answer all of this stuff that wasn't even part of your defence because you knew nothing about it until the day, basically.
That's right.
Right.
Okay, so document 2 was sent via email as disclosure to Irene by the Ministry of Health Prosecution, Hayley Bosa, MC Law, acting for Jane Birdsall on the 31st of January this year. This was a response to Irene's email on the 15th of January with PDF called Investigation Law Council International. Is that that's their first?
Yeah, when you see when they sent me, you know, when the team got back to me, what happened is with all the experts they got together, and they did an inquiry as to the ordering of forms, right? So if you order something on a prescription for a patient, I want to call it a patient, but for a patient, then that prescription form is sent to the pharmacy, the patient collects it, but that original form has to be in the pharmacy. So if you're out on the road, and I can even say that from my experience, if they're out on the road, say as a midwife, and I get this phone call and I've got to do this, send a prescription out, right? You have to either fax one through or email a form through, but they won't accept that one because they've got to have the original.
Right, and
that's interesting.
Just another quickie as well.
Yeah,
we were talking about this the other night. On an original form, you would have a reference number on each one of them copies.
Yeah, from recollection of what they had, and I remember the green forms. So for a practitioner's order form, we used to have a green form. It came on a pad. It wasn't duplicated, right? And it would have a number on, a reference number in red.
Yeah.
You'd have an invoice book. You're
And
going to have.
it was not
file
in
book.
duplicate. It wasn't a duplicate form where you kept a copy either. So you would send that in.
Photocopy these green forms
Yeah.
and have loads of them. They all had their individual reference on
And you'd have to buy this book from a supplier. I'd take it.
Well, you don't buy it. You order it from the Ministry of HELLth.
Ministry of Hell.
Yeah, you order it from the Ministry of HELLth so that you get a full pad of them, right? And what happened on that day in in November, I was told that there wasn't enough oxytocin, and it was for the midwife rooms because they kept it in their fridge because for an emergency, sometimes women birth there. And I used to order the stocks for urine, pregnancy tests and stuff like that. So I remember ordering this, going in to that pharmacy. Remember, I'd been in China for 5 years. I've not done it for a long, long time. So I took it in, the green form, and Caleb said he doesn't use that anymore and tore the green form up and put it in the bin. They said they do everything digital, everything's on the computer.
See, reading this, it looks like he made a mistake, but reading this again, it almost looks like a setup as well.
It does.
I don't know which way round it is. I don't know if it was a genuine mistake that he made or a setup. I really don't know which way round it is. But
my concerns are, my deepest concerns is just how far will they go? How desperate are they? Because they couldn't find anything with the other forms. They couldn't find, there was no evidence as to when they were written. Yeah, the other forms, the lab forms going back, didn't go to my electronic EDI. I didn't have one. It went to the midwife that was contracted to me. So I think this was a last-ditch desperate attempt, and they panicked. That's what my intuition tells me.
That's why they only presented them to you and you.
Yeah, but how can you trust a system that does that?
Yeah. And I mean, I know that the investigation team was talking to you because they was kind of worried in regards to the how much effort they put in to get these forms into court. Yeah, and there's a background little Twitter with some of the other evidence that they've started to go through, that it was all about cashing and birthing and blah 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 blah. Yeah. And it seems like, or what they said to you was that they needed the oxytocin because you need that for birth. So they needed that to bring in this, to paint the picture that you was doing sort of like off the books sort of birthing. Why anybody want to do that, I got no idea. And
why would they want to bring it into this case when this case is only about it was 3 lab forms and 2 ultrasound forms. This wasn't even part of it. So they went out of the way to try and discredit me. To try and rip my expertise to pieces. I mean, I took a whole battery from there.
Yeah. Anyway, should the rest of that little conversation will make sense as we go through it. We've read this 8 times, probably 9, 10 times to get our head around it.
This investigation team agree that the late disclosure responses were that of Jane Birdsall's reaction to this subjective and not factual case against Irene. The MPSOs, the forms, were not declared at any time before January 2024 this year.
Even though they did an investigation?
Even though apparently they've been doing an investigation since 2022.
Well, according to Jane Birdsall, she was notified in December 21.
Yeah, that's in. Yeah.
This investigation team are questioning how could Jane Birdsall enforcement for the Ministry of Health file court proceedings against Irene in the criminal court in March 2023 and start proceedings for a HBDT tribunal with subjective assumptions and no prior investigation or factual evidence.
That's Health Practitioners Disciplinary Tribunal, 2 places.
Right, who knew nothing about, apparently they knew nothing about the criminal case, even though it's the same people.
But they did, yeah, they did.
Because I know that's a fact, because when we did that last video with you, when we went through that tribunal, you told them.
You talked about it.
You said it to them. and they
Yeah.
ignored it. But then I think you got it in the text somewhere that we didn't really know it's come a bit fast. Well, hold on a minute, you told them that.
Yeah.
And we've got that recorded as well.
Mm.
Right, so this part is the International Investigation Team forensic investigation. The forensic team examined Jane Birdsl's handwriting from her diary.
Just a quickie. Remember, a diary is classed as a minuted meeting. Yeah, and can be used in a court of law.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This team were able to confirm that the handwriting on documents 1 and 2, the MPSO forms, the signatures and dates identify as Jane Birdsl's handwriting. So there's the date of the 29th of December form. The forensic team identified that the numbers on document 3 date have the same pattern. When Jane writes 3 2s in a row, the first 2 is sharp and heavier, the second 2 starts to open up, and the third 2 becomes a lot looser, and the dividers are the same. So we're looking at the first 2, the second 2, and the third 2. There's a pattern, isn't there?
Yeah.
Now, it's quite easy to see what it was pointed out as well, wasn't
It is,
it?
yeah. And there we have the date on the 29th of December 21 MPSO form was created by the same hand as Jane Birdsl's diary. So whoever created the MPSO created the signature.
Because it was the same ink.
So that bit is Jane's diary, and that bit is the actual form, the 29th of December form.
Yeah.
So they've got the same pattern of the two.
And like Jane's diary, you'll note that when she did it, because when you do a report or when you're bringing up people, you have to write their phone number down and any other relevant details. She didn't do any of that. It looks like she just wrote down stuff.
It does look like, Tracy, that she's actually created this all the same day. So she's done, this is my notes, this is the form, this is this, and then submitted that to you to go, oh, what the hell was this? That's what it looks like.
They're definitely not very nice people, these people.
No.
So this is Jane's diary that we got, that we looked at that's what that's from, isn't it? Yeah. And her handwriting, which is.
We can upload it. This is on the.
It's been public notice.
Yeah, so we'll put a link in, and then people can read through this at leisure.
Then we've got the forged signature. This signature was visually copied from a computer-generated signature that Irene used on her notice dated the 7th of December to confirm resignation.
And that's off the 29th form.
So this signature here is off the 29th of December MPSO form.
The one that arrived a day, 12 hours before we went into court.
And she copied it from Irene's resignation letter.
Yeah. Badly,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't even say. What does that even say?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've never ever written. All my Kalinowskis are very, very legible. They're not. They're not a squiggle. It looks like calico.
You're always a proper A,
an
I, and an N.
Yeah. And then there's another one of those hyphen bits at the end. Look, there's another dot at the end of it there.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's pathetic.
Yeah.
It is pathetic.
Well, considering her behaviour in the court, it was just disgusting. So it matches with that.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is the forged signature on the 29th of December form.
With the date.
And this is, Irene, is the stretched version of your signature.
Yeah.
That's the original of your signature.
Yeah, that's the original.
The International Investigation Team held a meeting with the International Forensic Team and agreed that Jane Birdsall Enforcement Ministry of Health needed to create the 29th of December 21 MPSO document by reason of a mistake that the pharmacist Caleb Joel Townsend at Lincoln Wall Pharmacy put the wrong name and address on the box of oxytocin on the 29th of December.
Now that's
the day you went into the pharmacy anyway.
Picking bits up.
Yeah, just maybe pick some homeopathy and stuff up because I go in there.
Yeah.
And he said this box was.
The box is here, and it just gave me the box, and I went off with the box.
And that's the box that had your private details on it.
Yeah, and I was stunned because it got my private name on it. It had got Irene Jane Kalinowski and
And
my
your
private address on it.
And you've got dress,
Yeah.
and you're that stunned about it. Luckily you took a photo of it.
I did. I know. I never ever do that. Well, I don't order that
That's,
many
that's one of the
boxes.
best photos you've ever taken, I think. When you actually go through these, you think, wow.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Caleb put an order into Irene's private NHI number, which is like our national health
Number.
insurance, isn't it? Instead of her professional name and number, which is the 1511193, and professional clinic address of 7 Woodford Avenue. This office holds a photograph of that invoice box confirming this mistake, evidence below of the box in document 6. This clearly shows that the name Irene Jane Kalinowski, address 25 Buscombe Avenue, which was Irene's home address, not her clinic address, which was 7 Woodford Avenue. This was the mistake that the pharmacist Caleb Joel Townsend made as Irene was in the chemist doing some shopping, and Caleb told her the box of oxytocin was ready to collect, and he gave Irene the box. Irene took the box to the clinic and noted the mistake, and she took a photo of the box of oxytocin that was ordered from her business address, which she was still registered as a midwife.
And I didn't go into the clinic. There was a little collection bucket outside it because I was barred from out there, you know. Didn't want to be a part of it, so I just took it to where it should have been and just left it.
Yeah.
So you ordered this oxytocin before you got fired for not taking the
GCAP, yeah.
And you picked it up on the 29th of December.
No, she didn't pick it up. She was given it.
She was given it.
She didn't go in to pick it up.
You were in there.
She was in there picking up, doing a shopping because it's your local chemist, and he gave it to you. And that's where we think that's a little bit suspect. I mean, was it an entrapment? We don't know. Or was it a mistake?
Yeah.
Who knows? Let's read on. What a wicked film this one, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The code on the box is 989696/0, 29th of December 21, and tallies up with the reference on the MPSO practitioner's form. So this is the photograph.
That's the random photograph
that you took of the box, and so it shows your personal name, your full name, and your private address.
And the 29th.
And the 29th.
So we could say there that when they did the investigation through your professional number, nothing came up because it wouldn't. No. So then they went through your private national insurance number,
which they have no jurisdiction.
And they found this box of the 29th, which makes sense because he's put it down to your private.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to keep you in the jurisdiction of your professional, they've had to create the 29th form with your professional address on, and then that surname to bring you back into their jurisdiction. That's basic.
So they can charge.
So they can charge you money.
Right, so it's got here, if that was legitimate, it would be an automated address with name dispensed to. This proves that the MPSO form has been manually created at a later date, and that is why there is no originals of these MPSO order forms, no records in the database under Irene's professional registration number. And there's the 29th of December one again, showing your professional name and your professional address.
Well, it's actually showing my private name as the signature.
Name,
the signature,
and the date's also in the private as well, isn't it? Because they're trying to find what they found in your private. The mistake was a mistake, and then bring it in their jurisdiction with the name on that there.
Right, so document 1, document 6, pharmacist mistake, Jane Burzel creating documents to deceive the court. There is a mistake the pharmacist Townsend made on the 29th of December 21, when Irene was in the pharmacy anyway, and Caleb mentioned he had the oxytocin in stock ready to be picked up. This form shows Irene's professional name and professional clinic address, and the label shows her personal details. This investigation team agree that there is there is the mistake of the pharmacist, and Tanya Brownlee found that mistake underneath
Well,
Irene's.
Tanya Brownlee is the auditor contracted to the Ministry of Health. Them that want to know.
And
Written
so
report.
it was found under your personal, your NHI number.
Which is a wicked number, by the way.
It's 3666.
Only you can have anything.
Yeah.
Not her professional 1511193 practitioner's number.
Yeah.
This investigation team unanimously agree that Jane Bursell created these forms in desperation to convict Irene of a crime she did not do. She created forms with Irene's professional details to try and keep a hold of jurisdiction for pecuniary gains. Jane Bursell used a fake signature on the 29th of December 21 form, document 1, and used all of Irene's personal full name to match up with the box label, which would have been on the system in the private, which was Caleb's mistake. Jane Bursell Enforcement Ministry of Health has created for her purpose and agenda the prescription order form to match the details that was found without jurisdiction or authority or warrant. That's a good point. On Irene's private NHI number database system, and Caleb made the mistake of putting Irene's private details on the box, which is document 6, not her professional details. Jane Bursell Enforcement Ministry of Health had to keep the professional address in, which is 7 Woodford Avenue, to bring Caleb's mistake into the Ministry of Health jurisdiction to keep Irene in Ministry of Health jurisdiction. But the address on the box is 25 Buscombe Avenue, which was Irene's private address. And the form and the what?
And the label.
So
Yeah, I think we are recording, aren't
that's
we?
all right.
We are recording, aren't we, Tracy?
Yeah, we're recording. Yeah.
Just make sure. I was like, I'm looking for. I can't see where you because
Yeah.
that's not really fair.
Where was I?
Sorry.
Yeah, so the form and the label should be the same because it should be automated and computer generated. So that made that the form fake fraudulent document that's been nowhere near the pharmacy.
Right. Where did I get to? Yeah.
Now
Let's
you're on
go.
3S, yeah.
Jane Bursell Enforcement Ministry of Health created document 1, which is the 29th of December MPSO, unaware that Irene had a photo of the original box. So they were confident in trying to get away with it, but the address on the box doesn't line up with the form. It proves the form has been generated after the event by hand and not by the pharmacist at the time of the 29th of December.
So,
Otherwise, it would have the correct address and name. And it would, surely it would have the date of when you actually originally ordered this medicine, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's like we've said before, it's like there's nowhere on any form where you can write the date you've ordered it or the date you picked it up, you know.
First
Which
box.
brings another question, because we're actually now obligated to report a crime to the Ministry of Health for someone's making up prescriptions.
Yes,
that's a fact. That is a fact.
that is definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. 3G. The photo of the box of oxytocin dated the 29th of December was presented in an international investigation team report to the Ministry of Health and everybody involved on the 14th of February this year, which was day 3 of Irene's court case.
That must have been a whopper.
So that's the first time they've seen that photograph.
Yes.
Photograph of the box.
Of that box.
Of that box.
And that's when, and since then, they've been very quiet.
Yeah. I reckon so.
Well, yeah.
It gets, you know, they did a really good job with this. I mean, wow, they've gone through it with a fine tooth.
Do you know what?
They have put about the date. So we're looking at the 29th of December form again, and that date there should be the date of when you originally ordered the medicines.
So that'd be pre the 15th of November.
Yeah.
And that's, what does it say, the 29th of December? So that's the 29th of December.
So basically, because we've read some of the stuff, haven't we? And it does say that means that it was generated on that day, as in you've ordered on that day.
On
You
that
generated it that day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
You-
then that stamp there.
That's apparently that's a manual stamp that's done in the in the pharmacy, right?
When it's
Perfectly placed, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, well, yeah, that's a manual stamp, and then
Yeah.
the signature. So that was so you ordered it the same day, apparently.
So it was ordered on that day. It was dispensed on that day, and it was picked up on that day.
Yeah, voila. But
Right.
but it takes at least 24 hours to get in, which will make sense in a bit as it goes on.
Right. Generation of MPSO forms and collection of oxytocin. The date on the box, which is the picture, the photograph for the 29th of December, proves that's the day Irene collected the box of oxytocin. Irene has a photo of the box which has the 29th of December printed on it to prove that is correct. The Ministry of Health claim that that form was generated, ordered and dispensed on the same day, even though Caleb the pharmacist doesn't keep it in stock, as quoted in his statement of truth. The Ministry of Health claim that the form was generated on the 29th, stamped on the 29th and signed for on the 29th and dated the 29th according to the MPSO form document 1, even though Caleb the pharmacist doesn't keep it in stock and it usually takes 24 hours or more to arrive. This MPSO form is the exact same format as the MPSO form dated the 3rd of June 22. This investigation team are perplexed as to the chances of that same format occurring. Caleb the pharmacist has not provided the original order date on the form of the 11th of November when Irene originally requested the medicine. It seems that there is no opportunity to place the order date and the collection date, which is also omitted from laboratory and ultrasound forms. This investigation team finds there is incompetency in record keeping and a Ministry of Health systemic error. Jane Birdsall Enforcement Ministry of Health has made it appear that the form was generated and the oxytocin left the pharmacy the same day it was ordered. This investigation team unanimously agree, after examining the court transcripts, that Caleb had his chance to attend court with the evidence, no originals of this form or any other form, and the audit that proves he's been paid for the oxytocin for both MPSOs to back up his claim. That's a very good point.
So basically, he didn't turn up with any of the original paperwork.
He didn't turn up with any evidence.
Nothing at all. All he's got to turn up with is himself and the original.
Yeah, all we got was so-called copies
Picture.
in photograph pictures. Yeah, pictures.
But Caleb the pharmacist did not provide any of this evidence. That window is now closed.
Yeah, because they can't just turn up with it now. You had your chance in court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what court's for.
Yeah.
Bringing the evidence.
Forward. Not pictures.
Pictures.
Irene has been requesting this evidence ever since she was told this was an issue. All Irene has received is computer-generated pictures that doesn't line up with the box. The photograph of that box proves the paperwork Ministry of Health has entered into court are fake and fraudulent documents. Then we go to number 5, numbers, dates and times. This international investigation team, Forensic, identified that the hand that created the date on document 1, the 29th of December, is the hand that created the fraudulent signature on document 1.
Because it's the same ink.
And created the whole MPSO form after the event, and this was created within the Ministry of Health, not the pharmacy.
Well, you well spotted that it was the same ink because you must have read. You said you've read this lot 8 times.
Yeah, no, we've been through this. We
have read it a few times.
We didn't get better until. Well, because you said you wanted to do it, so we was up till what 3 o'clock. We lost an hour, so we gave whatever. So yeah, yeah.
It's a good read, though, isn't it?
It is a good read. It's a damn good film.
Right, so they've got here. So that is the 29th of December. The form that's cribbed off the form, and that's Jane Birdsall's notes again, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what they've done is they've lined up the 2 for the 21 with the 2 for the 24, and it lines up perfectly, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can't even. Yeah.
Perfectly.
So basically what they've done, that's been overlaid over her
over the top of her notes.
Over the top of their notes.
Yeah.
I see what they're on about now.
Yeah.
Oh.
So 7A, 7B shows Jane Birdsall's notes with a copy of document the MPSO
Yeah.
form dated the 29th. Yeah. 5B. This international investigation team have identified, as aforementioned, that Jane Birdsall has a particular format pattern when she writes a series of twos. The first two is always very sharp at the bottom. The second two starts to loosen up at the bottom, and the third two is very loose. So we're seeing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get it?
So it's those bits there and those bits there.
Wow. It's-
Unbelievable.
I wouldn't like this landing on my lap.
Right, so document 7B.
We have not even got to the good bit yet.
No, we haven't. Yeah, the hum thing off.
No, this is just this is start for 10. Just tip of the iceberg.
Our forensic team lined up the last two of the date on MPSO, the 29th of December, and Jane's handwriting off her diary. That actually lines up perfectly. This is testable and repeatable. Anyone with access to both documents can line it up, and we will supply both documents so anyone can get the same results, as it's objective, testable, and repeatable. It's fact.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Objective,
Close match. Yeah.
Yes.
subjective is
It's a belief, a feeling, because their whole case is on belief and a feeling and an imagination. That's object. That's fact.
Belief does mean that. Oh, I believe. My belief. That's two different meanings. Yeah. Crazy people.
This one
Looks like line the second one up there. Yeah. Matches perfect.
Yeah. Document 7C shows Jane's diary with the middle two lining up perfectly with the date of the MPSO form, the 29th of December. It's the same handwriting, the same hand.
And that's why they said that whoever created the date created the form, because they created the signature, because it's the same. Yeah. Nice.
So then this one, what have they done here? They've lined up the first two.
The first one, yeah, but not. It didn't quite do that extended loop, but it's there.
It's the bottom bit that I was looking at.
Again, using Jane's diary and the date of MPSO, the 29th of December, the first two, the top start point of the two is the same point.
Yeah.
Same point. The loop is a little bit bigger, but the execution of the bottom of the two lines up perfectly, like the documents above.
The sharp bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please find copies of below of Jane's diary, which shows more samples of Jane Birdsall's twos.
Twos.
This is apparently a diary.
Some more twos. We're getting onto the nines in a minute. The end is 9. Yeah, we did spot in there. We're reading through it, and she can't. For somebody that works for the Ministry of Health, can't spell skeleton. She's spelled skeleton, right? So for somebody that works for the Ministry of Health, can't spell skeleton. She spelled it skeleton, and skeleton sounds like a village on the east coast somewhere in the UK, doesn't it?
I don't know where that is.
That's funny.
It just goes to prove that these people aren't educated. These people are put in there.
Well, she's looking. She's looking at the 9s here, right? I think it's
Oh,
the
God,
9s.
sorry.
Yeah. Let's see what we're looking at.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the 9s. So that's the 29th of December MPSO. This is Jane's diary again, and that's more of Jane's diary. So they've analysed the 9s, and they are all open, aren't they?
So an open 9.
The loop bit doesn't quite close up, does it? The International Investigation Team has illustrated that from Jane's diary notes that all Jane Birdsall's 9s are open at the top, matching the open 9 on the MPSO 29th of December. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, so that's the 29th of December. That's an open 9.
Open 9.
Open 9, open 9. This can be seen on document 4E and document 10A, B, and C, which all show Irene's handwriting. It's very clear to see that Irene's 9 is closed. See below examples of Irene's handwriting and numerology. Okay. So this is our Irene's handwriting.
That's a note that you did over the top of what they sent you. So there's your first
There's your
night.
closed 9. And this is these are all legal documents, aren't they? That you
Yeah. But you see
Do
the
we
two
zoom
underneath.
in on that? Can we zoom in a bit, or will that just
No,
bugger everything all up? All right.
That's as far as I can go.
So you're
Look at that 9 there.
the closed 9, and your 2s. You always put a loop on your 2s as
There's
well.
always a loop on them, yeah.
Yeah. So
this is more documents that Irene's in the past.
And
Oh,
what,
look,
and what
it's
did the
a
police
signature.
say about this?
Sorry, Tracy.
And what did the police say about this?
It's
It's with the fraud squad, isn't it?
Yeah, I put it in with the fraud squad, and
You
I've
just
actually,
wouldn't waste your time with lawyers, looking after lawyers and fraud. Remember, fraud's a legal thing.
yeah.
yeah. This is another level of
You
fraud,
see
though,
there,
isn't it?
the 2s have got loops on them, and the 9s are closed. Yeah.
All closed, and that's all. It tells you to go through anyway.
So document 10 A, B, and C are scanned copies of official documentation that Irene has filled out in the past tense, which gives us a good insight into Irene's handwriting when writing numbers, which, as you can see, are different to the 2s in the MPSOs. Completely different, as she has a loop at the bottom and her 9s are always closed on the top loop, identifying that Irene did not fill those MPSO forms in at all, as the MPSOs are in Jane's handwriting, as we have exposed above. This is substantial proof that Irene's hand hasn't been on those MPSO form 29th of December 21 at all, but Jane Birdsl's hand has.
You've not heard anything since this gone in, have you? You've gone very quiet.
No, we sent the report in the G36 for them to.
Yeah, they said that the lawyers are reading these reports, but Jane Birdsall and Caleb are not even reading it.
They're not even answered their emails. Funny that. It's amazing when they're sending you. It's amazing when they were sending you 15 kilo of paperwork, yeah, expecting you to answer. And now they've been hit with this. They've gone all quiet.
Well, that's the thing. They don't answer to anything. They just create an argument, and then you just wonder why the heck you're there.
Yeah.
And they move away from why you're there in the first place.
So this is more of Jane's diary. Jane's diary documenting the phone call with Caleb Townsend, the pharmacist. Here, Caleb states to Jane that the MPSO, the 3rd of June document 2, that the handwriting of the date is his ? He doesn't mention the first document, the MPSO 29th of December one, at this time, which was apparently on the 2nd of February this year. So this...
Yeah, that was just 10 days before the court.
Wow. And it only mentions the document 2, which was the 3rd of June MPSO form. So there's the 3rd of June again. This investigation team implicates that this form has also been created by Jane Birdsall. The identifying features to prove that this document 2 that is being spoken about within Jane's diaries can be identified by the date underneath the signature, and the only identification we hold to this form within her notes is there is no mention of the date of the 3rd of June within her diary.
And that's look at the loop around my C. I can't.
But he apparently did the date.
That's the H.
Oh,
there's a H. And look.
And look
at the C. And look at the Chan. There's no I in it.
And look at the 2s. Look, sharp. Do the same 2s again.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It's not the same ink.
Irene Char.
Chan.
Well, they've probably got someone close to that name to sign it for you.
Maybe.
That's a shout.
Right, so Jane's diary states that Caleb said it was Irene's signature on the MPSO form, but it's his handwriting on the date. Why is the signature in pen, but the date and the squiggle, which are identical, look photocopied? Because the squiggle and the date should be in the same pen as the signature.
there.
So that's why it's not a perfect.
Yeah.
It's all bits missing.
It's
isn't it?
it's almost like even
And it's faded as well, isn't it?
So why isn't that, say, that pen, that signature, the same colour on the full stop if it's a full stop? Whatever it is. It's like a seagull upside down. We are in New Zealand, apparently.
Is it not against pharmacy policy for a different person to sign the date? A person who signs the signature enters the date in any legal document, and if anyone other than the signatory changes the date, they must seek consent from the signatory to do so. The exact same discrepancy is identified in Caleb's statement of truth, also using different pens. So this is from Caleb's statement of truth, the pharmacist. So they're different pens.
Yeah.
Again, we observe the patterns with the 2s in the date, as in the handwriting of Jane Birdsall.
Sharp.
So we've got a sharp 2, a more looser 2, and a even more looser 2. So this is Caleb, the pharmacist's formal statement. And page 2. This investigation team agrees that this form was sent by Jane Birdsall to Caleb Townsend to sign, and that is why the date ink is different, because she dated it. It's her 2s as above, and that is why the letterhead is Ministry of Health and not the pharmacy.
That makes sense.
Yeah, let's just have a quick look at that.
Yeah.
There we are. That should be the pharmacy.
That should be the pharmacy.
Because it's coming from him.
Coming from him. That. Well, yeah, well, the rest of it
It's
makes
either
sense.
that, or do you not think it's because they're holding their own court? Do you not think that that's evidence that they're holding their own court, a formal statement for the Criminal Procedure Act?
She's obviously writing these.
Well, it's obvious as you read through this, she's orchestrating all of this.
Right word, yeah, orchestrating.
Yeah, I don't know where that one came from, but yeah, I'll own that.
I think it says it in, isn't it? Where are we up to?
Yeah, this investigation team.
Yeah.
Yes.
This investigation team agrees that this form was sent by Jane Birdsall to Caleb Townsend to sign, and that is why the date ink is different, because she dated it. It's her 2s as above, and that is why the letterhead is Ministry of Health and not the pharmacy. Jane has orchestrated this document from his emails and phone calls.
That's where I got that word from.
Well, I think you've got to look at that, what she wrote there. Just go back to what she wrote, that bit. I asked if this could go into the statement. Caleb will review and correct the draft. So she's written the statement.
Yeah.
What unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
It's absolutely.
You got that one on OIA, didn't you? Didn't you ask for that, or they gave it to you when they just all the evidence? I'm sure you asked.
No, they just pumped it all in as disclosure, but this was the disclosure I got late. I mean, she only talked to him a couple of days before the trial.
Oh, they've got to be bright, don't they?
Right. It is clear to interpret that from this conversation between Jane and Caleb and all the other evidence regarding these forms, that Jane Birdsall is directing and orchestrating what is said in Caleb's statement of truth regarding MPSO the 3rd of June, as there was never a statement of truth for the MPSO for the 29th of December. And 6 days later, on the 13th of February this year, when Caleb appeared in court as a witness for the Ministry of Health, he's now changed his whole statement of truth, and the statement of truth was not witnessed as truth by anyone. So this is the court transcript, isn't it?
Yeah, They sent me those,
This is Caleb, isn't it? That's incorrect.
Yeah.
This form has never left the pharmacy. I have the original, not originals.
Yeah, singular.
The form is absolutely an original, as it was the 3rd of June 22. Failure to produce the original MPSO forms. In his statement, Caleb mentions the form, not multiple forms, and that he has the original form in the pharmacy. This investigation team questions, why didn't Caleb bring the original MPSO form dated the 3rd of June to court? as he has ample time to produce the original forms. Where did the MPSO 29th of December Cup form come from?
Question mark.
Question mark.
Mm-hmm.
To clarify his position statement, he should have brought both original forms to the district court as evidence.
And I even asked him that in the court. They kind of quivered away and tried to cut me off when I went
No wonder.
Yeah, I remember that.
The investigation team examined court transcripts, and Caleb didn't talk about the MPSO form 29th of December in his statement of truth. Does he know the form exists? The investigation team could not find an affidavit or email discussing the MPSO form for the 29th of December. Jane stated that Caleb sent the MPSO form 29th of December form to Jane Birdsall sometime between the 1st of February this year and the 11th of February this year.
Which was the day before the court.
Yeah. Irene,
because he keeps the she's had to go to him to get
Apparently.
the original copies because he keeps the original copies in his pharmacy.
Yeah, that's what they talk about in here.
That's what this is all about. Yeah.
where did I get to? Jane stated that Caleb sent the MPSO 29th of December form to Jane Birdsall sometime between the 1st of February and the 11th of February this year, just before the court. Irene only received a copy of it as disclosure from the prosecution, Hayley Bosa, on the 11th of February, one day before the criminal trial.
So there's another name that's involved with this, because she's involved as well now.
Mm.
Well, you've got to remember as well, they changed the lawyers because we had Hannah Reid. We called her out for lying to the court, and we put a report in against her, and she was taken off the case.
Yeah.
They seem to keep shifting their lawyers around.
Yeah. All emails between Jane and Caleb only referred to the MPSO form the 3rd of June 22, and there is not any paper trail of the MPSO form 29th of December. This investigation team is perplexed that it is possible that Caleb knew nothing about this document that Jane has created, as this irrefutable evidence proves.
Yeah, because she's had to go to him to get the copies of these forms. Yeah, because because Ministry of Health don't keep them, otherwise they'd go, well, here they are. Exactly.
Mm.
Our international investigation team forensic hold on record 100% proof that the 3rd of June MPSO form was created digitally in its entirety. Please see documents 2B and C below. So what they've
And the
done is
investigation team sent this. This was sent to them all, right, before this report came through. So they've already been told it was.
they've analysed the stamp and the label.
Yeah.
And it all lines up perfectly. It's
too perfect.
It's too perfect.
To the
It's
page.
too straight.
Because
For somebody with a hat, somebody to hand do it.
the stamp at the top is a manual stamp. Kdunk.
Apparently.
That apparently, allegedly, this stamp down here is
Label.
a label apparently that's come off the box or whatever it is and stuck on there. Yeah, and then the signature is also apparently is what you signed at the same time.
But they're all perfectly too straight.
Too
They're all
straight.
digitally made. Okay. That just shows it even more. Document 2B and C. It is clear to see that the label and stamp are supposed to be manually added to the printed off digital form, but they are all plumb and level to the page and to the digital form, which is impossible to do by hand.
And
so
that's what Caleb said in court. He said it was a contributor stamp.
So in the box where it says contributor stamp, that's a manual stamp. So it's a stamp that we stamp on every prescription that we process in a day, and then it's got 3 boxes down the bottom that say enter display.
Check
box, yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. So he's saying that it's definitely
a manual
stamp.
Yeah.
You do that bang on straight. I don't.
You've got to be a pretty good shot.
You have to do it with a ruler or something, wouldn't you?
I don't think you could do it.
I don't think you could. Manual stamp question mark. Please see above documents 2B and C. Manual stamp is perfectly square with a page. The odds of that are millions to one, but then to get the label on the page perfectly square as well, you are really pushing the boundaries of possibility to the absolute extremes. So we have to assume that this copy is digitally made, and this is why Caleb has never produced the original for anyone to see, because it's quite possibly doesn't exist in its natural state.
Read them out.
Right.
But this is from the court again, isn't it?
This is a court transcript, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well done for getting that, Irene. Right.
So the question was, are you able to categorically rule out the signature that we see here, the date that you say you saw being signed? Are you able to absolutely rule out that is a mistake or an error from the pharmacist's part? And he replied, absolutely. And the question was, you're able to rule that out? Question mark. And the answer from him was, I have absolutely no doubt that's anything but Irene's signature. I have no doubt that that is Irene's signature.
Why did you say that twice?
What?
Is that something that's
I
nervous?
have no idea. I have no idea.
That's making a statement of a statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, like checks in the post, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then we've got more of this is
This bit's
court
Jane Birdsall's bit, yeah.
Birdsall.
You've got to read that bit out because it's like, oh my goodness, yeah.
So the question is, in terms of more recent aspects of your investigation, those that happened over the last month or so, so I just want to focus on those. The oxytocin scripts that were practitioner orders through the Lincoln Road Pharmacy. Can you tell us why it wasn't until January this year that was followed up? And
That was me. Oh,
You.
yeah, that was the amicus. I think that was the amicus in the court asking her that question.
And her answer was yes. So I think it was around that time we received the international report from Irene, in which she said she'd never done those. So it seemed it was actually almost, I'll give it a go.
No.
So I contacted the pharmacy. So her investigation started in 2021, 2020,
Yeah.
2022. And she's only just
Giving it a go.
I'll give it a go. What? Who says that?
Well, somebody that's going to do a bungee jump. I'll give it a go. Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's not professional, is it?
No, because they're
I mean,
morons.
and it doesn't make sense because Irene said that she'd never done those. So
Yeah.
it seems was actually like almost I'll give it a go. What, to make one?
Yes.
I'll give it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give it a
You
go.
can't make assumptions here.
No, we can't. No.
You're
We're just
in
having
that
a.
conversation. You can
It's
think
not-
about it, but if you're going to be factual, you cannot make
I'll
assumptions.
give it a go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like me going to work and go. I don't know if I can fix it or not, but I'll give it a go. It's not going to give the confidence to the customer,
No.
is it? I'll give it a go. They'll be like, oh, really?
Anyway.
You go suck eggs. Yeah, she's an unbelievable woman.
Right, so here is copies of your actual signature, Irene.
Yeah.
Are you sure this is you? Because I'm confused.
Look at the chain. Look at the chain.
Yeah, chain, not chan. Charlie.
And look at the Kalinowski.
And where's the H gone?
Where is the H?
Yeah, where's the H?
Irene.
Irene. This is a comparison of Irene's 3 card signatures compared with Jane's pharmacy picture.
Pictures are coming in now, aren't they?
This shows the signature on the Ministry of Health pictures is nothing like Irene's signature, not even close.
So that is your professional signature.
This is your
You see, there's the I and the N there.
Jane.
Yeah.
And no H.
No.
This is the signature taken off the lab test form for Hannah Harbracken, which is actually Irene's professional signature. So that's your professional Irene chain. And here is the picture.
A picture, which the pharmacist says is definitely your signature.
Twice.
Twice.
Irene Tar.
Yeah, it's probably got stammer.
This is not Irene's professional signature on the MPSO the 3rd of June document 2. That there is the unusual horizontal T connected to the I, like that bit there. Well, it's a sideways T, isn't
It's
it?
H.
Here's a H. And the hyphen to the far right, which is that little mark, whatever that is. The hyphen to the far right, which appears as if this is a cut and paste signature. Irene always finishes her professional signature with a defined N. And an I.
And an I.
Defined I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got nothing there, haven't
Sorry about the angle grinder going on. We're in a boatyard at the minute. On dry dock.
And here's the other forged signature. Jane Bird's Enforcement Ministry of Health claims that the signature from the MPSO the 29th of December is Irene's. So here we have we've got Irene this time, we've got Char. And then I don't even know what that says.
Yeah, well, why is there a dot as well? The
Calico?
Why is the dot over the A? You know, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But here is Irene's full signature, which she only uses in the private.
Yeah.
So you can definitely read it. You can actually read it. Right, so then we've got discrepancies between private prescription and practitioner MPSO. So this is a statement of truth from Tanya Brownlee, the auditor. And it says, this is a court's transcript, isn't it? Oh no, it's a statement of truth, sorry. I received a request for information from Jane Birdsall on the 22nd of July 2022.
Yeah.
So where have they got to give it a go from? They've had 2 years to give it a go.
Yeah.
That don't make sense.
Yeah.
No,
None
of it makes sense. And then we've got document 13B, which
It's
is
hard to believe that 5 forms can take 2 years out of your life.
yeah.
Well, that's like we'll take 10 years out of theirs now when they're looking behind bars.
So this is the court transcript from Tanya Brownlee. The query result returned 5 lines of data. 2 of the 5 lines were for NHI, which is your national insurance number, Irene Chain Kanowski, the private.
Yeah.
The pharmaceuticals dispensed on the 29th and the 3rd, 29th of December and the 3rd of June were oxytocin injections. I copied the results and pasted it into a spreadsheet. Why you would do that, I do not know. When it's for court, if you're going to do a database report, you would submit that database report to court.
Of course you would.
Yeah, have you had previous experience in that?
We have, yeah. 20 years ago, yeah. Yeah. This is
So this is the apparent. This is
the alleged,
yeah,
illegible.
Which is just a table that anyone can make, isn't it? I mean, let's face it. I could knock that up in 5 minutes. It doesn't prove anything, does it?
No.
This is the table that Tanya Brownlee admitted that she created and copied from the database report and sent to Jane Birdsall on the 26th of July 22.
More pictures.
Yeah.
And we now know that Jane had created that one, and the other one was digitally made and didn't come out of his pharmacy.
Yeah.
So that now is. Yeah.
That's now her
now involved.
Yeah, perjury and all that. This is the table that Tanya Brownlee admitted that she created and copied from a database report and sent to Jane Birdsall.
This is all on the oath as well.
This table is no proof it came off a query regarding Irene's professional number. So she only got asked to do a search on Irene's professional number, not her national insurance number.
Yeah.
So why it shows her national insurance number and not her professional number anywhere in the results, I do not know.
No, I don't.
When you have the results of the true results of a database report, it would have the details that you ask for.
Well, you know about that. You used to do all that, didn't you, years ago?
Yeah.
For the National Health.
So whatever you do a search for, it would come up in the results because that is what you're searching under. So you search, and she said she searched under 1511193, and it's nowhere to be seen in the results. So that's
to keep you in the jurisdiction of your professional. That's the enslavement that you was talking about.
And they had no jurisdiction to look in your personal, your private.
No.
Medications under Irene's professional number would be listed separately. Tanya Brownlee did not produce the actual database, and this international investigation team agrees that the information was tampered with to suit Jane Birdsall's agenda to criminally charge Irene and instigate a HBD.
Health Practitioners Disciplinary Tribunal, as well as the
Right.
criminal court, yeah.
Tanya's statement of truth on the 1st of February 24 is fabricated with no factual evidence. Jane Birdsall has had more than 18 months to get these MPSO forms from the pharmacist. If Caleb sent the MPSO 29th of December, the day before court, to Irene, he would have known about it and spoken about it. So this is irrefutable evidence that the table is fabricated, because MPSO form 29th of December and the form 3rd of June doesn't exist. Number 10, conclusion, perjury and coercion of witnesses. Perjury is an assertion as to the matter of fact, opinion, belief, or knowledge made by a witness in judicial proceeding as part of his or her evidence on oath, where the evidence is given in an open court by an affidavit or otherwise, that assertion being known to the witness to be false or being intended by him or her to mislead the tribunal holding the proceeding, which is the Crimes Act 1961. Document 12C, court transcript, read Tanya Brownlee. Once I completed the request for information, I emailed the results to Jane Birdsall on the 26th of July 2022.
So she allegedly,
Apparently.
allegedly, she knew about this 2 years or 18 months prior to we give it a go, and then put this in the day before the court.
Yeah.
Jane Birdsall said she knew nothing about MPSO forms until she received the international investigation.
That's a shout.
And her words were, "I'll give it a go."
Wow.
So that's more lies, isn't it? So that proves that Tanya's
well involved.
Well involved. According to Tanya, Jane Birdsall had so-called database results 18 months ago, which was July 22. Caleb, the pharmacist, didn't mention the MPSO 29th of December in his statement of truth. When on the stand under oath, he admitted it's the first time he's seen MPSO 29th of December, which confirms that he did not provide this copy to Jane Birdsall, as it was the first time he's seen it. And this confirms all the evidence aforestated that Jane Birdsall created the MPSO form the 29th of December 21. Here we have both Caleb and Irene in court stating they've never seen this form before.
So that's the first time you actually agreed with each other.
Courtroom.
Wow.
I just couldn't believe the lies. I mean, you know, it was just lie after lie after lie, and you know, it got so much that I actually said, I've had enough of this.
Don't blame you.
This is mind-blowing, isn't it? Right, document 12F, Caleb on the stand, the second day of court, which was on the 13th of February this year. As per Caleb's testimony court transcript seen below, it is clear that he has never seen MPSO form 29th of December before the 13th of February, whilst on the stand under oath. Well, I'm only seeing this form now, but yes, they both say 7 Woodford Avenue on them. Wow.
That guy's got himself in some serious trouble, hasn't he?
I think so.
Caleb is confirming that this document is fraudulent because, firstly, he has not seen the form before, so it's not come from his pharmacy. And secondly, he confirms that the address on the MPSO form is different to the address on the oxytocin box. So that photograph he did. The form states the clinic address and the box states the private address, which proves that Jane Birdsall has created MPSO form 29th of December and MPSO form 3rd of June. We understand that Caleb Townsend has been coerced in some way in regards to the 3rd of June MPSO form being fraudulent, as well as he was being coerced into lying for Jane when writing his statement. The international investigation team doesn't have the power to investigate Caleb in his professional capacity, and will forward these findings to the Serious Fraud Squad for a full investigation.
Which you have.
Which we have, yeah, I put it in. I put it in before the
Yeah.
report came out, actually, when I first saw the form. I put it in as soon as I got.
And here we have it, the court transcript. So this is when Caleb's being questioned. So you can confirm that neither the June form or the December form had the 25 Fuscombe Avenue address on them. Well, I'm only seeing this form now. But yes, they both say 7 Woodford Avenue on them.
Oh my God.
Wowsy, wowsy.
So he's saying there that it's the first time he's ever seen that form
That's apparently
came from his pharmacy, because he keeps the originals in his pharmacy, and Jane Birdseal has to go to him to get that copy. Yeah. Wow. She's dropped him in something there from a great height.
Yeah.
Absolute.
And that's the one that was the day before, isn't it?
That's the one that came
Yeah.
in. Yeah. One sleep before the court.
One sleep.
Let's put it like that. Yeah, it's one sleep.
She slipped it in the back. Slipped it in just the day before.
Yeah.
And she hasn't even told him.
No one told him.
Wow.
Because we did read the court transcript, the court notes.
Transcript.
And literally, he talked. Well, we can put it up there. He doesn't talk about anything to do with his statements. Only about the third. In the whole thing, it's only when
this particular point
your solicitor questioned. I mean, at the end of the day, it just goes to show, right? We've got doubts about these people, but he did you a massive favour there.
Yeah, that's epic.
That's epic.
Well, I'm only seeing this form now. Let's just like.
I wonder how many other people they're doing this to, you know.
That's the problem. Yeah.
That's the problem. How many other poor souls are in there?
The power that she holds over everybody in the medical industry.
Yeah.
She can investigate the midwives, the nurses, the doctors,
and create anything that they want.
Wow.
Because there's nobody policing these people.
No.
Except Irene.
Well, they're just entitled. It's like when they brought up, the first thing they brought up was a challenge for me to be in the courtroom with Irene.
Mm.
And we never saw the affidavit, did we, Irene, that they
No.
wrote? So they wrote something which we couldn't challenge because we didn't see it. And oh yeah, sure, thanks very much for the offer, but we'll decline it, was our answer. And then I endured 4 days of Jane Birdseed walking past me and the other woman.
Mm.
And Jane Birdseed would get a book, you know, the corner of the book, like this, right? Hard book, and just whack me in the leg with it.
What, in the court?
Just hit me really hard because she wanted me to react, because she wanted me out. Then we found out, we queried something because she was she's only an enforcement officer. I'm the note taker. That's what I am. I was a note taker. I was also there to give notes to Irene, and I was the note taker.
Mm.
And the issue there was we queried why she was in Chambers part, plus she was a witness, plus she was going in and out of the courtroom telling people what to say and not. We can't confirm that bit, but she was a witness, and she, as it was said, such and such, and she used the information that she heard in the court. Now they're allowed there because she's an enforcement officer. But we queried that. We queried that with the manager of the court. And the manager of the court clearly said, oh, no, that she can do that. But they had been making complaints about midwives that had come into the courtroom. They were being witnesses. They're not allowed to be in the courtroom. They can't be witnesses. This is what they were doing right through. The problem was Irene couldn't get any witnesses. The reason was because Jane Birdseed had actually been nobbling them.
Yeah,
she got them to
terrifying.
the point they were fear of, and it was insane. And because I'd spoken to these midwives personally.
Yeah, She's got Jane Birdsall, Birdseed,
Seed.
has got the
Bird
power to ruin anybody's career, hasn't she?
Yeah, and she also has a property in Point Share freehold, and it's worth 1.4 million.
Wow.
Nice.
You know, when the witness went home, the woman that was never ever, I would never, if I was pregnant, I would never go to that woman. She because she has been a witness the next morning, God knows why, she went home with Jane Birdseed. Bird brain. But but when Irene had a break after her 2.5 hours, it was a bit stressful. It was a bit, you know, when you constantly ask the same question in different ways, it's not about telling lies. It's like, what are you still asking me? It's like having a 2-year-old, right? Well,
Trying to bring it in.
they watched her. They watched Irene for that break. They had people watching her, but they didn't watch the other woman, whatever, Jane Eyre, the one with the wavy curl. She had the weirdest hair.
How's Jane?
Oh,
How's
yeah.
Jane?
Has Jane.
yes.
Yeah,
That's yeah, we did that in the other video, didn't we?
Provilla Deville, yeah. Weird. But, you know, I mean, people
Quite
like that
strange.
have weird hair, I suppose. I don't know. The weird. And Jane Birdsey just had a supercilious smile on her face all the time.
Yeah, and it weren't wind either, was it?
Just weird. Well, really, they weren't people, you know what I mean? Anyway,
No.
carry on. Sorry.
Yes,
I believe she spent the court while she was in court literally hurting you to try and get a rise out of it. That's disgusting. It's pathetic, isn't it? It is pathetic.
It's in the shit. That's why. And I don't know if their lawyers have read through all of this, but if they have read through this and they've gone, there's a few problems there. But that investigation team has really
They've done an absolutely brilliant
job. I mean, we're very lucky in Lansdale Water Council. We've got some brilliant minds and very, very talented people.
Why didn't the judge kick it out right there and then? I'm only seeing this form now. That is a major thing to say.
She kept bringing up first-hand evidence, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I'm only just.
I keep the originals.
Hearsay.
What's that, Tracy? What's that,
They
Tracy?
kept bringing up hearsay. They kept bringing up hearsay. They were trying to look like they were adhering to the Evidence Act, which they weren't, because the moment you heard the other one say, "Yes, you were suspended on a lie," and there's a couple other things that should have been brought to question immediately. But it's a legal thing.
She
Yeah.
said yes.
But remember what a legal thing is. It's just an argument. And once you go into court, it's not about the facts. It's about the legal argument. So it's got nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah, it's about the storytelling.
Right, so let's carry on.
Say the bigger story.
Yeah.
So this is the court transcript with Caleb on the stand.
That was me questioning him.
Was it?
Go on, let's read it out.
I just have to say that
Judge Irene.
on the 29th of December, they magically brought up the other form that they'd never produced before. And I remember collecting that from you, not signing the form. How is it? Because I actually took a picture of the box. The box has got 25 Buscombe Avenue, and your form has got it's got Woodford Avenue on it. Have I said that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you explain that? His reply was, one's loaded as a client and one's loaded as a practitioner, so they can be different. So the question was, so why would it be different on the form and the box? Why would my national health number be listed when I'm a practitioner? And his reply was, I'm confused by what, if there's a question there.
I bet he was.
Yes, at that point,
he didn't know.
He hadn't seen the 29th of December.
No, because this is, you asked this, you asked that before.
He said, this is the first time I've seen this.
Yes, that was a question that you asked before that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then their prosecution said not a question arising. It was a question.
Yes.
So they shut you down.
So they shut you down. Objections. Lee was the lawyer from the opposition, wasn't she?
The prosecution, not a question arising. Well, that was a question.
So then you questioned again. My question is there an error with the form you've produced or the label you put on the box? Because something doesn't tally here. and then you got shut down again. Court addresses Miss Kalinowski.
Yeah.
So he never got the chance to answer.
They protected him around that form.
Yes.
Yeah.
At that point, he hadn't
court.
seen it.
It looks like the court.
Yeah,
and
it's the court and the opposition.
yeah,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
So the opposition started off shutting it down, and then the court carried on.
Because that would have brought in this investigation,
Yeah.
and the whole thing would have been shut down.
Oh yeah, it says here.
Yeah.
This document 12G above confirms that Irene twice got shut down when questioning Caleb about MPSO the 29th of December. And the reason for that is all of the above. Investigation proves that this form was not created by Caleb. Tanya Brownlee's statement of truth on the 1st of February 24 about this 29th of December MPSO was a lie. Caleb wasn't there to hear Tanya on the stand, as Caleb was a witness in court on the second day, and afterwards Tanya Brownlee was called to be a witness at 11:41. So he was first on the stand that day, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Caleb never heard anybody else talking about MPSO 29th of December. Caleb has never seen the form prior to taking the stand that day, so the form has never come out of Caleb's pharmacy, which makes sense with why the addresses and names don't line up. Now we have emails between Jane Birdsall and Caleb Townsend.
Yeah, she left it till the 26th of January. We're seeking information.
From her to him on the 26th of January this year.
Just before the court.
Is this the give it a go bit?
No, this is
This
is the give it a go.
This is the give it a go.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
But apparently before that, she knew about it 18 months prior.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake, wasn't it?
We are seeking information about a prescription issued from your pharmacy and entered into the claims database on the 3rd of June.
The one.
So there's nothing there about the 29th of December at all.
No.
Jane is only talking about the 3rd of June 22. Only one MPSO form is mentioned, nothing about the MPSO 29th of December, confirming why Caleb didn't see the form until he was in court under oath. And this also proves that Jane had to go to Caleb to see the original form before accepting a copy of the MPSO form dated the 3rd of June and obtained a copy from him, which apparently attached to his statement of truth as per below. I attach a copy of the MPSO reference as attachment 1.
That's from his statement of truth.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So he's saying there that he attached the 3rd of June with his
statement of truth
that Jane created. Yeah.
Mode.
Yeah. So she wrote that bit as well.
Yeah.
Right. You know, obviously.
Yeah.
Gone.
This email and statement proves that Jane had to go to Caleb for the so-called copy of the original MPSO form 3rd of June. So she would have had to ask him for a copy of the MPSO 29th of December, but he didn't know anything about it and it hasn't come from his pharmacy. But apparently he keeps the original in his pharmacy. So this is from him back to Jane.
Allegedly.
On the 30th of January this year. Hi Jane, I've had a look at the script number as we discussed. It was coded as PS and flagged as an MPSO.
What's PS mean?
Well, it's when you say something extra. PS, don't forget to do this, right? When you.
It's not.
It was coded as PS. Oh, practitioner's script, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just the script, and it. We received the oxytocin and the pharmacy on the 3rd of June. We don't have an exact date that the medicine was collected because there was no cost and therefore no retail payment record. However, it was likely soon after that date. So that's completely contradicting his statement of truth.
Of picking it up on the same day.
Yeah.
Saying you picked it up on the same day. Just more confirmation that Jane and Caleb were talking about one MPSO form, the 3rd of June, and not two. This contradicts what was put in his statement of truth. Email from Jane Birdsall to Caleb. This is on the Tuesday, the 30th of January of this year. And there it is. Do you have a copy of the MPSO linked to that number, which is the 3rd of June? There's no mention of any other MPSO
And
form.
she's had to go to him to get that copy from his
Yeah.
pharmacy.
And then it says again, I will draft a short statement covering all this for you to review. So she's
An amend.
orchestrating it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's got her letterhead and not the pharmacy letterhead.
Yeah, and then when you got the
So
twos
she's been
coming in
writing
again.
statement.
date.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
it's not his handwriting, because you did say that's not his handwriting, because you know his handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More confirmation, they were only talking about one MPSO form the 3rd of June. This also confirms that Jane is coercing the witness by writing his statement for him. And she also coerced Caleb via phone call, as in a handwritten diary entry on the 2nd of February, which was 2 days later. So here's Jane's diary notes. I asked if this could go into statements. Caleb will review and correct draft.
That's what we'd read before, wasn't it?
You read that before, yeah.
Then we've got another email from him, the Lincoln Mall Pharmacy, to Jane Birdseed.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I have attached a copy. Based on the fact that this is pharmacy-generated MPSO form signed by a practitioner, it would appear that Irene came into the store, made the request, signed the form, and then we ordered the product in for her. I don't have the exact timing, so that's also contradicting his statement of truth.
So this is being written after his statement of truth, which you already had a copy for, and they've had, you know, for facts we spoke about this, they've had to shift it around a bit because they realised
that
you was in hospital that day, and right,
having a major operation,
and that's when they realised they made a huge, another massive mistake.
Yeah, this contradicts his statement of truth, saying that Irene signed for it when she picked it up on the 3rd of June. So there's his statement of truth. Most likely, she signed the form when she collected the medicines,
which would be the 3rd of June.
The Ministry of Health has obviously coerced and rehearsed witness intimidation and interference paperwork, creating and tampering with evidence. More evidence of this can be seen with what the pharmacist Caleb said in court under oath, was a complete reversal from his statement of truth by reason of the only reason that the investigation team can identify is that Irene was in North Shore Hospital on the 3rd of June. And was there very early, and so she was in the cafeteria with her iPad, not eating or drinking as she was nil by mouth, for a good 2 to 3 hours first thing in the morning, waiting for major surgery. So someone saw her in there, assuming she was working in a clinical setting.
That's where they got that from.
And then all of this has been created around Irene being seen in North Shore Hospital cafeteria. Jane Birdseed, enforcement acting for the Ministry of Health, started to create a whole timeline of lies to entrap Irene into their jurisdiction for pecuniary gains. It's not the first time that the Ministry of Health has done it. It is what they do. So that is why the 3rd of June MPSO form for oxytocin was created. We also have the lab test for Hannah Harbracken, which was the Ministry of Health of saying Irene met her that day at Westgate, which is the 3rd of June.
So do you think that because they seen her in the hospital, she thought she was doing some sort of like cash in hand sort of like birthing, which I've got no idea why anybody want to do that. I've got no idea. But she needed that in the morning or that day to take it to the hospital.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
why are they so obsessed with the 3rd of June?
Yeah, I've got that because I've got to hospital. Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Who knows? Anyway.
So we've got the lab test database apparently for the 3rd of June. Excuse me. Then we've got the lab test form, the blood test for 12:06 p.m. at Westgate, which is a different place to North Shore Hospital where you actually were, isn't it?
3rd of June.
3rd of June. Ministry of Health, Jane Birdseed, is stating that Irene met Hannah on the 3rd of June 22 to go for lab tests at Westgate at 12:06, which is 6 minutes before Irene's surgery started at 12:10 at North Shore on the 3rd of June.
That's a hell of a rush to get on the slab.
I've got to be in 3 places. I think what did I do? I mean, I left my bum in the hospital and I just took my left arm off to go somewhere else and my right part went somewhere else. I mean, that's the only way it can be done, isn't it?
Well, you can do the impossible.
Yeah, either that or you're cloning yourself, Irene.
Yeah, he got close. AI.
AI.
The Ministry of Health, Jane Berzell Enforcement are saying that Irene on the 3rd of June went into the pharmacy to request the oxytocin and then later on that day pick up the oxytocin as per Caleb's statement of truth. Most likely she has signed the form when she collected the medicine. And then Caleb's statement of truth. The MPSA was generated on the 3rd. It was signed by Irene Chain. The contractor stamp also records it was dispensed on the same day.
There you go. He's saying there on his original affidavit that it went out on the 3rd of June, the same day. But then in the court, he's saying, we don't know when it went out.
Complete different story. Yeah. But, well, there's my anesthetic record for the 3rd of June.
So this is where you actually were on.
Yeah.
Shown that you were having a major operation. And then that's,
There you go.
yeah,
And it says discharged at 18:17, but that's just on their paperwork because I didn't leave till 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, but basically what he said on his thing is that you requested it on the 3rd. They got it in because by miracle it came in that same day, and then you picked it up the same day in the afternoon, obviously. Yeah. To do what you ever do with it. So that's when they realised they made a massive mistake, because you submitted the paperwork of what you was doing in the hospital after they started creating the 3rd of June timeline.
Yeah. Story.
Mm.
Story, isn't it? Once the Ministry of Health, Jane Berzell Enforcement were informed by Irene that she was in surgery that day, they realised they'd made a major mistake and they couldn't go back on it because Jane Berzell had already submitted paperwork on it. So then Caleb was coerced before he got into court, and now he's saying could have been the same day, it could have been a day later.
And I think if we go back, because when I put the strikeout in, under the Evidence Act and that, and I also put in the records showing that I was in hospital that day, and that goes to show that nobody read them.
No.
I didn't read anything that was submitted.
No, I bet they wish they did now.
Well, they wish they did now because they could have changed the date, couldn't they?
Yeah.
They were smart. I mean, they could have made it any day but the 3rd of June.
Maybe change the handwriting around a bit as well.
Yeah, I just, it's like, this 3rd of June is like, wow, why did they pick the 3rd of June to forge the documents?
Because she was in hospital.
Yeah, and they never read whatever I'd submitted, because I mean, like, if they'd have took notice and read what I'd sent in there, they wouldn't have put the 3rd of June and forged it, would they?
Right.
My models. Okay, we've really got through this. This is the last page, yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Thank God for that. No,
like everything else in the Ministry of Health evidence, the emails have also been fabricated to fit a different narrative, which can be fabricated quite easily because they made a mistake. They got their assumptions wrong on why Irene was spotted in hospital on that day, the 3rd of June. Irene had been at hospital for 10 a.m, having done an enema at home beforehand in preparation for major surgery on her bowels, and she was not released until 6:30 in the evening, so she couldn't have been anywhere else that day, the 3rd of June, and that is why Caleb was coerced and changed his statement of fact in court under oath, which is perjury. So to conclude, all of this fictitious premeditated fabrication with intent has deceived Irene, the courts, the public to obtain pecuniary gains, and has destroyed Irene's career and reputation when they do not have a legitimate case. Jane Berzell is the instigator and the orchestrator, and all that will be named are also complicit in the deception. International Investigation Team in Landsale Water Council UK office.
What a marvellous job they did.
You know what?
It is awesome, isn't it?
That's better than the FBI would do.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Well, yes, it's most likely because it reads real. The FBI don't have to make it up. Have you seen the serious fraud? New Zealand's stuff they do. What they do, and MPI do it as well, they will put an article in the newspaper. So that's the full arm of the law. Did I tell you that we're now accredited media global now?
No.
The Law Council has its own accredited media now.
Wow.
Through
That's
a little thing called, it's actually a big thing, it's called Voice Media. And we've
Oh,
been
right, yeah.
we're accredited.
Wow.
So, you know, that's a very serious thing.
Yeah.
Ha. So that, you know, here they are saying we're losing our jobs, we got nothing. Yeah, that's the first step to pure communism.
Yeah. Well,
And if New Zealanders don't pull their finger out, the whole world will crash.
So wonderful job done by the team.
Wonderful.
They've got it in the courts. The lawyers have been sent it. We've got the police notified on the fraud. Jay Birdsall and everyone's been sent the copies. And then you put the G36 notice on, which basically a notice to admit facts in that document.
I don't see it. You can't. I was thinking about that all last night. I was awake till about 5 o'clock after reading that, thinking, well, how could you get out of that? And you can't get out of that.
Oh, it's a legal thing. You just can't make it an argument. That's where our system comes in.
There's no argument in that. There is no argument in that. Yeah, the whole thing is
Using the court transcript, it's using their apparent evidence.
Yeah, it's using all of
the emails.
Emails. There is no argument. There is no argument to be found there.
There's nothing made up in there.
Yeah, but
what?
Yeah, but what? Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Thing is, that is a slam dunk. But now, right now that's good. Obviously, you're going to take that to district court and blah 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 blah. Yeah. Now we're going to see. Now that's going to test the courts. Then next, basically, that's that done. Yeah. So then that's now going to test the courts to see where they stand.
Well, we've got 8 days to the judgment day.
Yeah.
8 days now, so it's not leaving them much time to come up with something.
I don't see.
Is it 8? It's 7 more days than they gave you, Arnie. Eh?
Well, yeah.
The day before, handing pictures in the day before court.
You
know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, they'll all be scrambled around.
They've tried to put that on you with pictures, and we've used their pictures to actually go, voila. That's quite funny.
Well, the most stupidest thing they've done is to bring those prescriptions in when they weren't even in the initial charger.
Well, that's that phone call you had though, because that's the rub. They was going for that.
Yeah, they were going before that, and
they on it with that, yeah. So they wanted to get you for that.
And the other court, and to get it for a reason to get the practitioners' tribunal going as well, another 3-day court thing.
So Jane is also involved with the tribunal as well.
Yeah, because they've been using the same evidence that she's been using here. It's the same thing. I mean, they even put the WHC up, which was the Wakaminigora Health Council thing, where I was appointed a director, but it never really happened. So she's used the same screenshot of the woman that supposedly had this home birth, and I was supposed to have been there, and she was turned down by 86 midwives. But then in the court, Jane Birdsall said they never found any evidence that I'd been at that birth. So why did they submit it in the court?
Storytelling.
Yeah, storytelling, trying to defame who I was.
There's a massive difference between storytelling and then creating pictures to put into court. That's another level.
Absolutely, yeah.
that's another level.
Mm.
I mean,
Well,
do you want to leave it there?
the
Do you want to leave it
beginning,
there, Irene, or do you want to go through the other one, or do you think it's
I think it should be all right there because we know what the G36 is. It's
yeah?
you know, Tracy's explained there, and she's
Maybe we could do another one with it once that G36 has gone through. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe what we should do is we'll do another one,
Do an update, yeah.
an update of that bit with that bit and that bit, and then we can do an update with how corrupt the court is on the next bit.
Well, I think, well, I mean, it's like 8 days to D-Day now. I
Yeah.
mean, this is the courts are going to show the true colours here, aren't they?
They've got to show something. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to, they're going to show who they really are with whatever they come up with.
The ball is in their court. balling in their court.
Yeah.
I mean, what a journey, and I know it's coming to an end. I mean, I feel good because there's nothing in that courtroom. They've got no evidence against the forms.
No.
I've got the woman that sent an email in to say that, she was there with the daughter with me on the 14th, and we gave them post-dated forms, and what a wonderful midwife I was, and I gave them all the information books, and tried to give them the best information because they weren't even in my area. I mean, I would never be able to get out to where they live because they were in South Auckland, but they came to me because of my homeopathy. People travel from all over to come and see me because I'm a homeopath. And a homeopath's not under the Act.
No,
No.
It's not in their jurisdiction, is it?
It isn't.
And nor are you, Irene.
Neither am I. No, I'm
Blind.
I was
Well,
born here.
You got dismissed because you wouldn't have that on the 15th anyway, and they ignored that and then carried on anyway. And then you had to put your notice in and go, hey, hello.
Well, on the
And
15th, they revoked everything.
Yeah, it's just a witch
They
hunt.
revoked being able to practice as a midwife, or they revoked everything. So they really revoked my registration by doing that.
Yeah. But it's there to make an example out of you because of
Tracy?
You're getting it's a legal thing, like it's practice. I practice my swing, my backhand. So you're talking in a legal language, which is really just nonsensical. Like I wouldn't
never worked.
Right? So when you've got and then when you resign at the point of that letter being written. It's the done deal. But they created a story a couple of weeks later and then said, oh no, we suspended you. When we questioned the suspension on the process of it, they deleted it off the website.
Yeah.
We
didn't bring
everything, but it's a legal thing.
That suspension was all based on a lie.
So in theory, then you still are registered.
Yeah.
Well, they keep saying you are. You're a practitioner and you're a registered.
They do keep saying you are.
So therefore, how can they put criminal charges against you if you're a registered midwife? Oh, you're suspended. Oh, so what are these people? So like I said, it's a legal thing, and the only way we can combat a legal thing is without the argument.
And that investigation
talking to their court
upends the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see them answer that.
Yeah, that's why they're not reply back to, because they can't argue against it. It's almost like
it's gone very, very quiet.
Well, our advantage is really simple. They never answer anything because they're too, we're too entitled. We don't have to.
Too entitled.
If I could just grow a penis overnight, I'm pretty sure I could pretend to be a bloke for a day or two. I mean, seriously, you've got men telling women how to have babies. I rang those women up in the Midwifery Council a couple of years ago before I met Irene and asked each and every one of them if they'd read the Pfizer data sheet, of which the reply was no. I'd rang up multiple CEOs. Have you read the Pfizer data sheet? No. And most of these CEOs from different companies are foreigners. So these women, they don't care. Obviously, the government's read it for them. but they are the government, so they didn't
Mm.
read it. So everything they do is because they can just tick a box. There's no education required, no ethics.
And that, is that why these people are so dim? They've had to create boxes for them to tick because they don't really understand it.
Well, that's why a lot of
Tick here. Oh.
a lot of these doctors or so-called health professionals can't think outside the box. That was their plan. When I was in China, there was an.
It's not like they're not allowed to. They can't.
But one of the obstetricians were coming over, and I was listening to his lecture, and what they were doing is putting televisions up everywhere in the communities so they can get online and tap into a doctor who will tap in the symptoms and then tell them what meds to take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got this system, this symptom, this symptom. Yeah, so you need this pill. Yeah,
It's pretty sad.
very sad, very
Thank you
sad.
so much, guys.
Yeah,
for
thank you.
joining us.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm looking forward to what will it be? Round 3, round 4, round 5?
Whatever it is.
And thank you so much, Irene, for
And
your
Tracy.
hard work and so
Thanks,
much.
Irene. Thanks, guys.
For
I think we
Oh,
should.
yeah,
I think we
thanks
should.
everybody.
We should do a big thank you, public notice to the investigation team as well. We think we should do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They've
I
done
think we'll do that.
They do all of that, all voluntary. There's no, it's just all voluntary. It's just what they do.
They do it for the complete, absolute out of love. That's what they've done it out of.
Yeah. And they don't wear a white hat either.
I know, right? Thank God.
Actually, there's no white hats in there.
No military required in this box.
Thank you very much, guys. Lots of love.
See you later.
Yes.
Bye.